Hello everyone, welcome to today's video where we're going to take a look at the new FTCC card pool featuring Chelsea players. Due to the amount of content, we will talk about the new legend players later when we have time. First, let's look at the scout information. This FTCC card pool lasts for 2 weeks, featuring 6 new players from Chelsea. This is a standard premium card pool with a 4% chance for 3-star players, a relatively difficult 0.5% for SS players, and a somewhat easier 0.7% for other players. Just like before, the FTCC draw tickets obtained from events and tasks can be used in this period's FTCC, and points accumulated from previous FTCC card pools will carry over. The last card is currently obtainable through event medal draws. You'll need to grind event stages for 2 to 3 times evolution, and more energy is required for a 4th evolution. The automatic energy recovery in the game is usually insufficient, but there's no need to strive for 4 times evolution as these cards have limited potential. Let's start with SS player Sterling. He offers a variety of position choices including LW, RW, and ST, fitting any team setup. His stamina at 1250 isn't very high, with LW being the optimal position. His offensive stats are impressive, especially shooting and dribbling over 12k, and a very high speed over 8k. His defensive capabilities are negligible. Sterling's S trait is Invincible Extension, an SSS level trait providing 37.5% effectiveness, similar to SS Mbappe's, just under a different name, Nobody Can Stop Me. His A-level trait slightly increases shooting power, reaching a formidable 41.4k power with his SS level 260 power shooting. Although he lacks additional power boosts, his high offensive base stats compensate for this, allowing room for a functional trait. This is Sterling's second 3-star player card. The previous one was a regular and is no longer obtainable in the current game. The capability gap between the old regular and the new premium is substantial. Let's take a brief look at Sterling's capability ranking. His shooting power ranks 5th overall and 1st among speed-type players. His dribbling ranks 7th, 6th among speed-type players. His passing is average. A detailed look at Sterling's shooting capability. He can bully all goalkeepers, including all technique-type ones. But the strongest speed-type SS blockers and top 3 technique-type defenders can block his shots. Overall, he is extremely capable. Looking at Sterling's offensive capabilities. His dribbling can oppress power-type defenders and challenges speed and technique-type defenders. His passing is somewhat weaker. Comparing Sterling with similar players, we list 5 players here. These are among the game's top strikers, including the strongest shooter Cantona and the newer SS low ball shooter Griezmann. Sterling's dribbling and shooting are comparable to theirs, but his passing and 1-2 are slightly weaker, placing him in the 2nd tier. Sterling and the older top LW Leo are very similar, both ranking among the strongest wing strikers who can shoot. Mbappe shares Sterling's Invincible Extension but lacks comparable dribbling bully power and shooting strength, placing him a level below Sterling. SA recommendations focus on enhancing shooting and dribbling capabilities, with some improvement in passing for guessing power. In terms of trait builds, attacking third is the most suitable I can think of for him, enhancing overall offensive and shooting threats. If unavailable, other traits are fine too. Sterling most needs the S dribbling skill, especially the 223 power variant. Stronger passing and 1-2 skills are also beneficial. In summary, Sterling boasts impressive dribbling and shooting capabilities. His versatile positioning greatly facilitates team composition. Coupled with a functional S trait, he utilizes longer invincible time and speed to break through defenses. A top-tier offensive shooter deserving of 5 stars. Next, we have Fernandez, a central midfielder suitable for CM and CDM, with average stamina. His tackling and passing are high, dribbling decent, but his interception is low, and speed average. His S trait enhances passing against interceptions, and his A-level trait also boosts passing, contributing to a potent 36.1k passing capability. Other abilities lack boosts, with tackling being okay but the rest below average. This is currently Fernandez's only 3-star version available. In the overall capability rankings, his 36.1K passing ranks 9th overall and 2nd among speed-type players. Looking at his offensive capabilities, his passing can bully all power-type defenders and poses a challenge to strong speed and technique-type defenders. His dribbling is decent for guessing but struggles against top technique-type defenders. His defensive capabilities are mixed. His tackling is very strong, capable of bullying power and technique-type players passing, but struggles against speed-type players. His interception, however, is too weak to be effective against speed-type players. Comparing Fernandez with similar players, we find his abilities closely resemble those of Rabiot and Seedorf, who we've discussed in previous videos. Generally, he's very similar to Rabiot, possessing strong passing skills. SA strategies include balanced distribution to dribbling, passing, tackling, and intercepting. Prioritizing passing for bully power or intercepting to compensate for weaknesses is also viable. For traits, the usual midfield player traits apply. An S dribbling skill is highly recommended, though relying on S passing for offense is also an option. In conclusion, Fernandez is a midfielder with strong passing capabilities and some ability to bully with passes. However, his glaring weakness is weak interception, reducing his defensive contribution. A 3-star rating seems appropriate for him. Next is Thiago Silva, a CB with LB as secondary position. However, his low stamina makes him less effective outside CB. His blocking and tackling are okay, but his interception and speed are low. His S trait is defensive third, very powerful, but his A-level trait only boosts tackling, while interception would benefit more from enhancement. Silva is currently available only in this 3-star version. In the capability rankings, his blocking is outstanding, ranking 3rd overall and 2nd among power-type players. His tackling is also commendable, but his interception is average. Looking at his defensive capabilities, his blocking is generally reliable against power and technique-type players but struggles against top speed-type shooters. His tackling is strong against power and technique-type players dribbling, but his interception is too weak against speed-type players. Considering Silva's similarities with other players, his interception is indeed a weak point. However, his blocking and tackling are considered strong without relying on the duelist trait. Standard CBSA and trait recommendations apply, as discussed in previous videos. Since he has S blocking, building him is quite convenient. Summarizing Silva, he is a competent CB with strong blocking and tackling, empowered by the defensive third trait. The major issue is his weak interception, especially against speed-type players. However, he can handle many dribbling forwards well. Overall, he's in the 3 to 4-star range. Next, we have Caicedo, a defensive midfielder similar to Fernandez but with different capabilities. His dribbling and tackling are high, but his passing is too low, and interception is average. His S trait, middle third, is excellent, and his A-level trait boosts dribbling, complementing his A-level dribbling skill. He has S tackling as his skill. In the capability rankings, his dribbling ranks high, especially among power-type players. His passing is weak, and his tackling is commendable, but his interception is average. Looking at his offensive capabilities, his dribbling can bully technique-type defenders, especially when matched against forward players. His passing is weak, vulnerable to being bullied when countered. His defensive capabilities show strong tackling that can handle power and technique-type players dribbling, but his interception is too weak against speed-type players. Comparing Caicedo with similar players, we find 5 players with comparable abilities. SA strategies include 2 approaches, focusing on bully power by enhancing dribbling and tackling, or balancing by improving weak passing and interception. Trait recommendations vary accordingly. In conclusion, Caicedo has strong strengths and glaring weaknesses. His passing, important for offensive midfielders, is lacking. His tackling is comfortable against dribble-only players, but he struggles against powerful and speedy passers. Overall, he is average, deserving a 3-star rating. Next is Colwill, another CB, also capable as an LB. His stamina is very low, making him less effective outside the CB position. His tackling is strong, but blocking and interception are low. His S trait, extending the opponent's incapacitated period, seems useless. His A-level trait boosts dribbling, complementing his A-level dribbling skill. His skill is tackling. In the rankings, his tackling stands out, ranking 5th overall and 2nd among power-type players. Focusing on his defensive capabilities, his tackling is solid, capable of bullying power and technique-type players' dribbling, but struggles against speed-type players. His interception is too weak against speed-type players' passing. Comparing Colwill with similar players, we find 5 players with comparable abilities. Standard CBSA and trait recommendations apply, as discussed in previous videos. Since he has S blocking, building him is quite convenient. Summarizing Colwill, he is a subpar CB, lacking blocking and interception. As an LB, he is strong against dribble-only players, but his low stamina and poor map passing and interception capabilities are significant drawbacks. A 3-star rating might be generous. I do not recommend using him. Finally, let's look at Palmer, a RW player who can also play CAM, similar to Ronaldinho's positioning. His stamina is on the lower side. Palmer's S trait boosts shooting ability from the sideline, but his base shooting isn't that strong. His A-level trait, Touchline Master, is decent, pushing his offensive stats over 30k. However, his defensive abilities are negligible. In the overall capability rankings, Palmer's shooting doesn't stand out, but his offensive abilities are above average without being exceptional. For shooting, against power-type goalkeepers, Palmer's chances are slim. Against speed-type keepers, he can score, but technique-type top keepers pose a challenge. He can dominate all speed-type goalkeepers, but requires S shooting for success against top goalkeepers like Neuer. In terms of offensive ability, Palmer generally matches up well in guessing contests but lacks bully power. Here are 5 players with similar capabilities to Palmer. Interestingly, the data suggests similarities with Messi, although this doesn't mean much as Messi is just a regular player in the game. SA recommendations include 2 approaches, either enhancing shooting ability or focusing on other skills. I recommend the latter, with Touchline Master being the most suitable trait. In conclusion, Palmer is an ordinary RW player with decent offensive capabilities but no standout qualities. His shooting, while capable against speed-type goalkeepers, is average and further hampered by his position far from the goal. As such, his special trait is somewhat wasted. I rate him as average, deserving 3 stars. Lastly, we have Gallagher. As an event giveaway player, his capabilities are limited, so let's briefly discuss him. He's a midfielder with reasonable offensive abilities, but his defensive skills are lacking. His A-level trait, Skill Moves, seems to have a stable activation, pushing his offensive stats over 30k. Comparing Gallagher with players of similar abilities, most are regular players. His offensive abilities are at a typical guessing level, nothing special. I won't elaborate on his build. He's quite ordinary, lacking distinctive features, barely reaching 2 stars in my opinion. To summarize the Chelsea FTCC Scout players, Sterling stands out as a powerful dribbler and shooter with versatile positioning, making him a top choice. Silva is a decent CB with strong blocking and tackling but weak interception. Other players either have mediocre abilities or significant weaknesses, particularly in passing and interception. Overall, the quality of this card pool isn't very high. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.